Hey guys, I'm Elise and today I'm going to share with you how I painted this bone dragon. I bought this from eBay. I will share the link with you down below in the video description. This costs about $20. For this piece, I used a lot of dry brushing. It's a particular technique where it helps bring out a lot of the details, which I'll explain further in the video. For the dragon, I used Vallejo paint, Citadel paint, and a little bit of Golden Artist colors. So these are the colors that I used, and this is where I bought them from, so if you do check it out, please tell them Elise Wong sent you. Now without further ado, hope you enjoy! First things first, we have to file down any excess plastic that is sticking out of the sculpture, because if you do this before you glue everything down, it will look a little bit unnatural because all those plastic ends are not supposed to be there in the first place. So by doing this, it looks a lot better and natural. I then use a black primer and I use an airbrush to spray on it. This is because it looks very smooth. As compared to if you were to use a paintbrush, little air bubbles may show up. Then I use a slow drying medium and then I mixed it with different colors. I thought to try this out because I've never done anything like this before, but I sort of have an idea. I wanted to do something like a drip painting or an abstract painting, so I use a slow drying medium so you can like mix around a little bit. And I poured little drops of colors here and there, and I use a palette knife to influence the direction of the painting. So in my head, it was the cube was the source of power, and it was going to be very bright, very vibrant, and you can see the separation of colors is very clear. So that will be the source of power from where the dragon will form. And then I use a black paint and clean up around the dragon to make sure none of that vibrant bright color is transferred over. And then start using blue and paint the first layer of foundation for the dragon. And since the dragon is coming out of the cube and the cube is mostly green on that part, so I use a bluish green to make sure the parts that are closest to the cube are the same color as well. So it kind of looks, it doesn't look like a two separate piece, it kind of looks like it's forming from the cube. It's like telling a little story, only you're using visuals because you don't have words to help you. So all this is trying to like make the transition a little smoother. And I just use bluish green and blue just to blend the two together. And then I use a dry brush where I use a brush and then I put some paint on it and then I wipe the excess paint on a cloth and then I will brush the surface of the sculpture. What this does is that it highlights the textures that are on the sculpture, and for this particular sculpture there was a lot of textures going on and I was using that to my advantage. I just use a dry brushing technique to really bring out all that detail without even doing much work for it. So I use a white color and to highlight the areas, and then depending on what I want, I will then use a color, a secondary color, and I'll brush over the white parts. So it's easier to highlight that particular section with color. And for the skeleton section, I decided to go with dark brown, leather brown, and bone white. The same idea is that the bone that was closest to the cube is going to be a bit bluish green as well. I particularly like the color bone white because it's not pure white. It's like a little bit of that beige color and it really fits the color of bone. So I thought it was very fitting for this particular piece. I glued the horns in the beginning, but I did not glue the
hand because I feel that it's much easier that way. If I were to glue it in place then only paint it, then it's like there'll be like pockets of spaces that is very hard to get to. Then you'll see it's not very satisfying because you couldn't get your paintbrush to reach it and it won't look as smooth. So I decided to paint the arms separately, then only glue it on the sculpture. Lastly, I decided to go for a little bit of fiery red for the horns to contrast the colors of the dragon overall. So I went with red, a little bit of orange, and yellow for the highlights. And I also did use the dry brushing technique for the highlights itself.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and find it helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you want to learn more and help support the channel, you can check out my Patreon page, which the link is down below in the video description. Social media links are also down below in the video description. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao!